What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Black and White Bodybuilding, where nothing is black and white except for your hosts. My name is Logan Schultz, and I'm here with Paul Conyu. Paul, it's been about 3 weeks since we've gotten together. How have those 3 weeks been, man?
They've been great. So let me start off. During the Christmas break, all I had was a shitload of freaking chocolate. So I was eating chocolate for like 10 straight days consecutively. I was like, I think I'm gonna be able to try to stay on point over this next few days. Nope, didn't happen. Ate a lot of chocolate, and then I basically just binged. And then finally, last week, I kind of slowly got back into things because I got sick and tired of eating so much food. And when I was walking, I was getting like calf pumps. I was like, "Yep, that's it. I'm done." And then I was sick this last week because I went to uh, I went to Scotland to not donate, to give blood because I can't really donate blood in Poland because I don't speak full fluent Polish. So usually I have to like fly somewhere to go and donate blood. And then when I got to Scotland, I got to the place to donate blood, but then like I got Uber there, but to get back, you can't take Uber because it's out of the typical city where you would have Uber. So I was stuck outside for like 3 hours
So there's no
looking
Uber there.
there. What's that?
So there's no Uber there.
Yeah, it's a city regulation,
Yeah.
really in the main city in Scotland. I didn't know that. So some random guy gave me a ride to like closer to the city where I could get Uber.
Oh,
And then I
shit.
got Uber, went to my hotel, and then I went straight to the airport, and then my flight got delayed. So, so, so my flight got delayed. I was stuck in Scotland for like
hmm
the entire day, and then the flight finally showed up at like 10 something, and then we flew to Amsterdam, and then my flight from Amsterdam to Poland was also delayed, so I had to like find a hotel in Amsterdam to basically stay in there overnight before I get the next flight over to Poland. But during those 2 days, I was outside most of the time in a really cold weather, and I wasn't proper. I was properly dressed, but wasn't properly dressed. But I was outside and it was raining, so I got
Yeah.
like super duper sick when I came back to Poland. And then I kind of been going to the gym when I'm super duper sick because it would help me feels a little bit better. But
Yeah.
then I started mega dosing like vitamin D at 12,000 IU's every single 3 times a day with magnesium, and then I've been having about like 6 to 8,000 vitamin C,
hmm
um, and then feeling better. Just got a cough, but that was kind of my last 3 weeks. It's been very good.
Yeah. Yeah. It helps. It helps a lot to mega dose those in like short spurts like that.
Mm.
Um, let's see. I definitely know what you're talking about eating too much, and then like my back would start hurting. Um, like walking around. So since the last time we spoke, we introduced growth and insulin. Um, so no anabolics, just some GH on training days. 5 IU's fasted, 5 IU's post, and then some insulin pre-workout, and then with my breakfast meal. So I'm up about 20 pounds from competition, but I still look pretty freaking good. Um, so that's a plus. But I do have my spurts where I've definitely eaten way too much and my weight's gotten up quite a bit, and then I've had to like pull that water off.
Mm.
So yeah. As a matter of fact, I actually made myself sick over Christmas, not purposely, but just because like I spent an entire day off plan. Like
Mm.
I definitely overate, but I didn't like, I didn't go crazy where I was like hurting all day.
Mm.
But something didn't agree with me, and I ended up throwing it all up. So that was fun. Um, but holidays were good. Really not much going on around here. We leave for Europe in 2 weeks. So on the 26th, I will be gone. We're going to Florence and then Nice and then Barcelona.
Oh, nice.
So I'm kind of ready to get the hell out of here and
Be
take
at
a
the same
break.
time,
Take a break from everything, all of it.
and then there's fire. Just kidding.
Yeah. Yep, I'm ready to start the off season and start, putting on some tissue and making that push afterwards. But I need the break for sure from work, from responsibilities, from life. So plus I love Italian food. So
Yeah. I've yet to visit certain parts of that particular part of Europe. I've only just been in like the Austria, Poland. Definitely looking forward to go to somewhere around that Florence area.
hmm
Was it Barcelona?
yep,
Yeah. So those should be pretty interesting.
yeah.
Um, what are you guys gonna be? You guys have anything planned that you're gonna be doing there?
So we kind of have like places to eat that we want to go to. Like there's a place that does like the pasta in the big cheese thing, and they like
Yeah.
serve it to you tableside, and like we want to experience that. And there's a custom shoemaker over there, and like some stuff like that. I think there's some museums that we're going to, but most of it's going to be like roaming around, exploring Florence and the area, and eating good food and stuff like that. And then in Nice, once again, we have some just exploring the city. Some museums I think are on task. Um, Mostly want to enjoy like the fresh seafood and stuff like that, and then
Mm.
French cuisine. And then in Barcelona, she actually has to work for 3 days,
Oh, okay.
so I'll be on my own. I will probably schedule myself like an e-bike tour through the mountains. I did that last time I was in Spain, but we were in Marbella, um, and it was a lot of fun. Like it's like mountain biking, but with an electrical bike, so it's a little bit easier. Um, but I couldn't imagine doing that on a mountain bike because it was like steep stuff. It was hard even on an e-bike,
Yeah.
but it was a lot of fun. So I'll probably do some more physical stuff like that while we're there.
Mm.
But yeah,
What about training?
I'm
How's
not
that
worried
going?
about it.
Ah, perfect. It's like, all right, 2 weeks. Don't worry about this. I'll do this when I
Yeah,
get back into my off season.
yeah. It's literally like I'm gonna eat what I want when I want. If I get to it, more than likely, I'll probably train in Barcelona like while she's gone, while
Mhm,
she's at work, like just because I have nothing else to do.
mhm.
But I'm not. It's just gonna be fluff work, basically.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, one of
Yeah.
the things I like to do when I travel is just like check out like different gyms that are a little bit like not what I'm accustomed to.
hmm
You'd be surprised. Some gyms are like very, very, very interesting.
So I've definitely, I actually haven't checked out any gyms overseas, but I was upset to find out that when I was in Marbella,
Mhm.
or Dorian Yates is in Marbella.
Really?
Yeah. And
Oh,
so I could have scheduled a personal training session with Dorian Yates, but I didn't know that he was in Marbella at the time.
yeah.
But now it's like a 4 hour drive from Barcelona to Marbella. So I'm like, I don't really care to do that.
Yeah. You know what's funny? There are like people who would totally do that drive, even though if they're on vacation. Like, you know what? Bodybuilding stuff. Gotta go with Dorian Yates,
Yeah.
which I kind of get, but I kind of
Yeah.
don't.
Well, okay. So I would maybe do it if I was like in my off season on gear, like I
Mm,
wasn't 6 weeks post show, you know? Like I don't really want to risk that kind of training 6 weeks post show.
agree. Yeah.
So that's
So,
that's kind of how I look at it, right?
yeah, I mean, that makes sense. So, for your training, what is it that you guys are focusing on specifically, like body part wise?
So in the off season, right now it's just 3 days a week. It's it's all like I would say 70 to 85%. Um 3 4 sets of 10 to 15, 10 to 20 reps on each exercise. Like it's nothing crazy.
Mm,
But with the growth hormone and insulin, like the pumps are so ridiculous that they're painful. Um, which is nice. But in the actual off season, we've already discussed it. It's going to be mostly posterior chain. My glutes need to come up because you can tell that like they get too large in the off season, so I have extra skin back there. So I need more tissue there. And then my back needs to come up. I mean, the entire posterior chain just needs to come up. And then my arms, primarily, that's kind of the big focus. So it's going to be 5-day training split. I think we're doing like, I'd have to go back and look, but I want to say it's like 2 leg days. One is basically posterior chain. One is quads and calves. Maybe something else as well on that day. And then there's a back day, a chest day, and an arm day. Or chest and shoulders.
Not too bad. I'm kind of the same boat. I have to get my posterior chain to develop a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
My back and my arms, which includes triceps, shoulders, and biceps. It's been going well, actually. They've kind of developed quite nicely already. So
you're liking this post-show blast, huh?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't feel much anymore on gear.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like, oh, this is anyways. I'm just like, I just go through the motion. But like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Training feels the same on gear. Training feels the same off gear. It kind of just all seems the same to me. I just look different.
Yeah.
But I'm liking the overall faster rate of muscle growth than before. If I were to pull down to like a TRT, so I think right now I'm running like 750 test and 350 NPP.
Okay.
So I haven't used NPP in forever, so I'm using it currently, and a lot of bloat, but regardless, it's like really good, dense, quality size, and it's only been like 4 weeks since we're in.
Yep.
I did went a little crazy with my food, but I didn't really ballooned up that much. I'm up 20 pounds, but I don't look like a bloated mess. So I'm likely going to look leaner and leaner as I go on, because this week was the week I started doing my steps again, steps and cardio in the morning. So like what I do usually, I'd wake up whatever time, God knows when. I would walk 20 minutes to the gym, whether it's cold or rain, I don't care. I'll walk there. And then I go do like 25. I do an anime episode of cardio. And then I come back at 20 minutes. So I'm getting roughly about like an hour of just overall fasted activities. And then I go home and I eat. And then that's basically starts off the rest of my day. That usually just been keeping me pretty lean and pretty tight. And no growth or insulin, because apparently I'm not supposed to use them anytime soon, because if I do, it makes it hard to get conditioned, mainly because it'll thicken out my
potentially
skin that it's already hard to get lean to begin with.
Potentially,
which was very surprising, because like during the contest prep, like the last 12 weeks, he was like, pull out the growth. We don't need it. I was like, what? I was like, fucking what? So I didn't have GH in that entire prep, and I don't have GH in currently at all. No Slin as well, so that's been nice. I'm not going to use it till I'm apparently freaking 35. So there you go.
Well, I think once you get that really, really thin skin look, you'll be fine. It's just about getting that real thin skin.
Yeah, and that's a bit like age overall, because as you age, the collagen sense decreases, and you're just thinner for most Black people. That's why, like, I've come to the conclusion that you rarely ever see any Black dudes who are peeled on stage
with that like hard grainy look.
Except for Keith. That's about it,
bro. So he did a podcast with Fuad. Have you gotten a chance to look at it?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. It's quite interesting. It's actually really interesting because he's been competing quite a long time. But he literally said that his first show, he had only been training like, apparently when he was 21, he was like 130 pounds because he was playing basketball. Yeah, and then he started training for like, I don't remember the time frame, but it was under a year. He just started training, just lifting weights, not bodybuilding style, not powerlifting, just lifting weights. He basically said like, he's so strong that he never really like shot for those strength. The weight felt light, so he added more. It felt easy, so he added more. And And you're just like, you're squatting 8 and 9 plates, dude. What the? But yeah, he said his first show, he meets this lady, and she tells him to come to this gym and meet her husband. And her husband shows up, and he's not happy because his wife just made him drop whatever he was doing to come meet this kid, right?
Mm.
And they make him take off his clothes, and they look at him and they say, okay, this Pittsburgh show is in a week. You're going to do it. So he literally has no idea. They told him shave and show up. Okay. So he shows up. He has no idea what he's doing. They're calling out poses, and he's looking next to them, seeing what he needs to do. And then he does it. He ends up winning the whole show, winning the overall, everything, right? Like, never dieted, never ate like a bodybuilder, never trained like a bodybuilder, nothing, bro. Walks in and wins it, right? And so it's just like, some people are just meant to do this. So,
See, there's an issue I have with that. Some people are meant to do this, but then like when you get to like that top echelon of the entirety of the
mhm,
sport, people like Akeem are not making it to the top one or two, you know, or just like winning like a Olympian level show or like a big show in general.
mhm.
So that's like the interesting thing is like some people are meant to do this, but then what's that extra push to make those other guys who have basically maybe the same genetics or maybe just a little bit better are like winning shows and placing really, really high and winning the Olympia. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's work ethic, right? Like, it's not enough to be genetically gifted for this.
Yeah.
The work ethic has to match, because you have the guys that are okay. So I have a theory about 90s bodybuilding, the golden era, right? Where everybody always touts that those guys were better than everybody else, or the best era, right? I don't necessarily think that it has anything to do with how hard they worked or anything like that. I think it simply comes down to the genetic pool. And the reality is that nowadays we know a lot more, so people with worse genetics can make it a lot higher than what they could back then, right?
Mm.
And so we're seeing those guys compete with the genetic elite who don't necessarily have the same work ethics.
Mm.
Like, we know some of those guys partied their butts off in between shows. We know some of them got really fat. Like, they were the genetic marvels.
Mm.
And that's why I think that they're touted as being the best, is because they didn't necessarily have to have the work ethic, because bodybuilding wasn't as, I don't want to say popular, but we have a lot more athletes in bodybuilding today than we did back then.
I don't think it's the opposite because back then bodybuilding was the only way for many of those guys to make money and be able to provide for whatever it is that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say those guys worked a little bit harder then because like it was so niched, but you're going up against so many different genetic anomalies that if you're not at the top of your game, you're kind of not going to get anywhere. You're not going to get that first place. Everyone, there's so many people who are just like incredibly amazing that I find it. I would say they all had a good level of work ethic, but their genetics were just so great that combined with their work ethic, because you don't really see those physiques that they had back then.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was actually messaging Chris Cormier about this, and he was just saying exactly kind of the same thing. It was just like, nowadays it's just like people just want to just speed up the process. You know, they never want to like take the time to grow or like do whatever it needs to get there. It's always like, okay, cool. I just started training. Let me start using all these other drugs. Where like it's more of like a drugged up physique in a
Mm-hmm.
sense
Yeah,
than
I can't
like,
argue that.
yeah, like then like, hey, I just spent like 10 years hammering this stuff back and forth, and the overall gene pool back then was just everybody was just so competitive
Mm-hmm.
because if you make it big in a bodybuilding, dude, you make it big. You make it like get big
Yeah,
back then.
a
Right
pro
now, it's
card
like,
meant something.
yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. Like,
I'm not okay. Let me rephrase that. I'm not saying they didn't work hard. I know
Mhm.
they worked their butts off, and I know a lot of them really, really suffered hard.
Yeah,
And their training was like, they trained. I would argue that they probably trained a lot harder than us, and they beat themselves up pretty hard,
due to lack of
right?
information.
due to lack of information. All I'm saying is that due to the amount of information we have,
Mm.
guys with lesser genetics are able to
Mm.
go further,
Yeah. Okay.
right? And so therefore the pool that we're seeing at the top is a mixture of guys with like good genetics in maybe one area, like
Hmm.
let's say putting on muscle or getting lean.
Yeah.
Versus back then it was great genetics all around.
Mm.
Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah. I think that's
Yeah.
kind of what I was getting at, but I guess I
Okay.
kind of misheard
Yeah.
some of the part because I was
I realized I
on.
miscommunicated whenever you started, but I wanted to
Yeah.
let you finish. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, that totally makes sense. Yeah, I mean, there's like so many. It's so much different now in terms of like just the knowledge and training that people apply themselves
Mhm.
versus then it's kind of like we have great genetics. You don't really know much. All you know is like, all right, this guy was picking me up.
Your audio is like gone. Your computer's warming up or
Yeah,
cooling
it's
down.
just like a warm-up show.
No, I'm saying your computer was cooling down, so I couldn't hear anything you just said.
Yeah. No, I was just saying, just like uh, I was saying like back then it was just like, hey, this guy just walks into the gym. We look at him and say like, yeah, I think you look good. You'll compete next
Hmm.
week. Now it's kind of like it's a little different,
Yeah,
you know.
you can't. I mean, you'd have to be a real genetic anomaly. I mean, we're talking like Keon genetic anomaly to be able to do that, right?
Yeah, that's all. Like sometimes I don't feel like I have a good level of genetics because if I did, I would be at the top way before whatever. So like I just think I'm like average genetics. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
well, I mean, it's a. I look at genetics as like a. It's like, well, in what area, right? Like, are we talking about like the rate at which your body clears drugs? Are we talking about the way you put on muscle? Are we talking about like what are we talking about here? You know, um, bone structure, right? Like your muscle tie-ins, your shape, like it's all genetics, really.
Mm.
The skin texture, right? So it's like when you say great genetics, like what are we referring to? But arguably, like I understand what you're saying. It's like if you were great, would you have to work this hard for this long to be at the top when we know some of these people who are like really genetically gifted because they're doing a fraction of it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like I think I don't have great amount of genetics to build a lot of
Hmm.
muscle tissue. I just don't because if I did, I would be fucking big and jacked. You know. Um, all I have are like shape and structure.
I mean, that's kind of where I am.
That's literally it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I am. I mean, I get lean. Like, I mean, this year was easier, but previous years it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm putting on muscle tissue is difficult for me. I will say one of the things that kind of like I'm going back to is like in my training, I think that I'd gotten a little bit too nuanced,
Okay.
and I'm starting to just train with more aggression again.
Mhm.
And not so much worried about the nuance. Now with my pec, I'm with my chest, I'm more cautious.
Mhm.
I'm still getting a little bit more intense, I guess you could say, but everything else is like I'm trying not to worry so much about like perfecting form every time and stuff like that. So I'm just getting a little bit more of that, like how I used to train. Yeah, you're good.
Um. Yeah, man. That's so. This is one of the many reasons why I don't follow a science-based training
Hmm.
for myself personally. For clients, I do. I 100% do. But for myself, it's just not applicable to where I want to go.
Hmm.
Um, I tried it when I was younger. I think maybe when I was like, God, like 20, 21, somewhere
Hmm.
around there, or 22. And I actually regressed. I regressed quite tremendously. and I understand like practical application of training and all that stuff, but like I try to train in like the most science way possible, and I didn't do so good. I didn't make
Yeah.
progress. Like, and I was deciding like I can't train this way if I'm trying to be literally like the top 1%.
Hmm.
Like to be at the top 1%, like science is not going to get me there. I guess the basic principle of like science and which is literally just mechanical tension and progressive overload and then basically just like pushing close to failure. Like the general basis of hypertrophy when it comes to training is literally just mechanical tension and push yourself. That
Yep.
is literally it. So
It's
when people
just
try to
creating
like
novel stimulus, basically.
yeah, basically, like you always have to consistently
Hmm.
chase after. But like when people try to have like these little other sub things that comes in, they run way too far away from the actual point of
Yep.
training itself. So like all these weird things, and now like their progress just dwindles. That's where I was when I was younger, and then I sort of realized this is fucking dumb. So I stopped doing that, and then I just trained however I wanted, but I still did track my training,
Hmm.
and that's been the thing.
Yeah. So I don't. I might try it this year because I did it with my arms. I came to the realization as to what I was doing when this year my arms grew so much, and that training was just a little bit more fun and competitive, and it wasn't always perfect, right? A lot of it was very, very good. It was better than most people's as far as like form is concerned, but it wasn't perfect, right? But it was more importantly, it was fun, it was intense, and it was hard.
Mhm.
And so I think that's why my legs tend to grow so much is because I can, like
Yeah,
squat
kill yourself.
555 pounds for 8 reps. Like that hurts, right? And so I just need to bring that same, my goal this year is to bring that same intensity, that same level of fun to my back and to my glutes primarily. I'm already doing it with arms. Um, and legs are like, that's like, I don't know why my quads grow so easily. Like, I literally only train them like 8 weeks out of the year
Because you kill yourself. Duh.
because basically, yeah.
Dude, speaking of leg day, I actually had legs today.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, I don't want to go because I know it's leg day. And I know I can't stop from whatever I was doing. So
Mhm.
like I walked in there and I think Phil had me do like kneeling leg curls, 3 sets of 12.
Okay.
And then he had me superset like seated leg curls with stiff legged deadlift.
All
So
three?
well, just stiff legged deadlift and seated leg curls.
Oh,
The
okay.
kneeling leg curls just to kind of warm up the hamstrings a
Oh,
little
okay.
bit. So like it was weird because I was like, I'm not getting any pump from like the seated leg curls and the stiff legged deadlift. Okay, this is weird. Usually I get pumps, but I didn't that time, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm just gonna ignore it. But then like I went to fucking legs, like quads, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna kill myself. Just like legit, just kill myself. So I just basically just went really ham and took every single set to failure on leg extension, and then and then sorry.
It's all right. I can edit that out. It's easy to. There's an AI tool on here that'll edit that out. Yeah.
Um, like 6 weeks out. I haven't done like full on leg press since six
Hmm.
weeks out. So I got the leg press, and all I did was just put like 2 plates on each side of the leg press machine, and I just took it to town. So I like every single set, I was like shaking and like crying, and I was like, "Why the fuck am I doing this?
Fuck yeah.
Why is this happening?"
Fuck
But then
yeah.
like the most annoying thing is like I try to beat every single set, like the reps, every single time, and I did
Hmm.
it, and I was just like, "Why am I doing this?"
Yep.
And then when I was done, I got to do like lunges. Those are just such a bitch. But like I was like, I didn't like I didn't want to do legs, but then at the end of it, I was just like, yes, this feels great.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Like I killed myself.
Yep.
Like I have noticed for a lot of people, their favorite body parts are usually the ones that tends to grow the fastest,
Uh,
but it's because they enjoy training that body part.
100%. Yeah, it's like my chest grew because like so my chest used to be much larger in comparison to everything else, but I've laid off of chest for quite some time.
Me too.
I'm just now having to start like train chest a little bit harder.
Yeah.
It's because I love training chest. Like I remember when I started, I literally trained chest every day.
Yeah.
Something like I did a little bit of something every day.
You're good.
Sorry, I think an Amazon package got here. Um, so I was training chest every day, and then I didn't start really liking to train legs until I was in college, and then I was training them really hard. I was squatting until failure. I was hack squatting until failure, leg pressing, like you know. But I will say that like I haven't really done a lot of leg pressing in years. Um, but right now I've been doing 4 or 5 sets of 20 on it, and it just I think on leg press you need at least 20 reps, man. Like
Yeah.
it's got to be heavy and it's got to be a lot of reps.
That'd be painful.
It's got to hurt, right? Like when you get off, like your quads need to be so pumped that like there's no lines in them.
Yeah.
Like so yeah, I love it. And especially because it's not like I just forgot how much I enjoy leg pressing. Because it's not like systemically taxing like a squat is, right? Like you're not like you're in you're in pain, but it's not, you're not absolutely exhausted afterwards.
Yeah. Pretty much. That's kind of how I feel. Like, that's why if I were to pick two exercises to train my legs, especially quads, leg extensions and leg press. I don't care about anything else. I just don't personally. Um,
I gotta go
because like
hack squat. I gotta go hack squat and press.
I, I like the hack squat. It's really nice, but it's hard to find like a really good one especially where I'm at.
Oh
That's kind of my limiting factor.
yeah, we just got the old Cybex hack.
Mm.
It's the greatest hack ever made. So
Yeah, I
like the
agree.
perfect angle.
I think one of the gyms that I go to has them, but it's a long drive that I just choose not to drive so far away. But maybe like once in a bit I could. Question about the legs. What was the highest amount of reps done
The highest amount of reps I've done on a what?
on the leg exercise?
On a leg exercise?
So leg press or whatever.
100.
Nice.
So I would there was a time period where it was a normal thing. No, 100 was not normal. Let me first say that. But there was a time where it was a normal thing for me to run a ladder of 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 reps on leg press. Every 6 to 8 weeks, I would do this. And I would, start at 2 or 3 plates and I would add a plate each time to each side and then back it back down as I went back up in reps. What about you?
About that, about
Yeah.
100 straight,
Yeah.
but took a little bit of breaks here and there and just
Yeah,
kept
it was
on
like
going.
a pause to breathe and let some of
Yeah,
the pain out, and then
pretty
you
much. And
do
I just kept
another.
on going.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've also done 325. Sorry, 315 for 27 reps.
Squatting,
Yeah,
27's a lot.
it's a lot. Like, there was a lot of dumb shit that I did back
I
then.
want to
It was
say the most I ever did. I want to say I squatted. I think I have a video of it. I did 405 for like. I want to say it was just under 20 reps, somewhere between like 17 and 19 reps. But I've not done anything in the 27 range. Hell no.
So there was this one time on like the only bodybuilding Facebook group called Fear It Up, where Phil Viz posted a video of him like squatting like a lot of fucking like reps. And then he was like, who can beat this? It was like 52s or some shit. Yeah, it was so fucking dumb. It was like 52 reps. I think it was a chick that did it though. So I attempted it myself, but not with the 315. I was like on a different time, but it was like 225,
Mm-hmm.
and I banged that out for 42 reps.
Yeah.
That shit was so fun. That shit was
Yeah.
so fucking fun, dude. Oh
So
my god.
I think this year, so I like to add in squats every year for probably about 8 weeks. I just kind of
Yeah.
like, that's about what my body can handle before things start to hurt.
Mm.
um, I'm hoping I can fix some of that this year. I'm working on some mobility stuff in my low back. But um, last year I worked up to 555 for 8, and that was the best I did, right? It's nothing ever lower than 6, but once I get to 12 reps, I increase the weight. This year, I think I'm going to do that, but I think I'm going to go 20 reps, and then I think I'm going to once I get to 20, I'm going to add weight until it's like a 12 rep minimum.
Yeah.
So if I do 20 with 315, then I'm going to add it. I'm probably going to add somewhere between, you know, go to 345 to 365, wherever I can do 12 with, and then I'll work that back up to 20. I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do this year because I want to get a little bit more of the higher volume instead of so much load on my spine.
You know, now that we like talked about this, I'm just gonna train everything like if I to be quite honest. Like I'm just gonna like because dude, like I used to like do I used to warm up with like 135 for like just like 30 to 40, 50 reps. Like dude, at one point my
You're
chest was
definitely
so
warm after
fucking
that.
big, it was fucking retarded. Like nowadays, like the size of my chest is like not even compared to what the hell my chest looked like. So
Yeah.
um, we're at the fucking like at the end game of bodybuilding right now. I think I just don't give a fuck. To be honest, at this point, I'm just gonna go to the gym and just do like mad high fucking reps. I just don't care anymore.
Yeah. I'm getting to a place where, yeah, I'm a little bit more cautious about the load that I'm putting on because, like, I've been to the place where I was hack squatting 10 plates aside. Like, you only, like, why do I need to put 500 pounds on my back? For
Because
what?
you're jacked.
Right? Like, um, so yeah, I think that I'm probably, my rep ranges are probably going to be a little bit higher this year. Um,
Yeah.
but we'll see what happens. I'm going to have Andrew Barry a little bit more involved in my training this year.
Mm.
I just want to ensure that we add the tissue where I want it added, um, and we build the physique that I'm wanting to get to. Right. This is all under the assumption that like I don't have to run fertility drugs and come off of everything, because we do want to, more than likely get pregnant this year. So.
So that's kind of what I'm doing with my training. Is all like 12 to 15s,
Mhm.
20s. My arms have grew tremendously. Um, Phil was explaining it to me. I'm so used to be honest, I knew I respond well to like higher reps, higher volume, higher training, but I just love the idea of just lifting heavy as fuck.
Mhm.
And honestly, that's been like a limited factor in my overall growth because when you have like really, when you train a certain way and you get like these sick ass fucking pumps, and these pumps are just so like ridiculous, and that's just like lifting like 12 to 15, 15 to 20, I tend to find that like just train that way. Because if you're getting, it's a little bit like anecdotal, but if you're getting like massive pumps of like higher reps, higher volume, you can recover from it, and your cardiovascular system is on par with your overall training system,
Mhm.
then dude, you're gonna make amazing, just spectacular progress. Which is what I've been doing. Is like I've been just doing those high cardio at like 150, 160 beats per minute and just running that through for like 30, 35 minutes and then train plus walking around and moving, just like being more cardiovascularly fit so I
Yep.
can handle those high rep works.
I think a limiting factor for most people is their cardio. I know it has been for me in the past, especially when it comes to legs. For back, I want to say it's more like my ability to breathe on a chest supported machine. Um, But yeah, I absolutely agree that having a better cardio output and making sure that your muscle is getting close to that failure point before your breathing is, I guess, or your cardiovascular is, right? I mean, if you can't breathe, you can't really do any more reps. Yep.
Just performance will like improve,
Yep.
then bro, there's a lot of gains that many people are leaving on the table. I'm not saying it works for everyone, but there's just a lot of gains that people are leaving if you just get your cardio up to
Mhm.
par.
Well, one of the things that I implement um, with like even a hard, what I would consider a hard gainer is, somebody that struggles to put on muscle tissue is maintaining a level of cardio.
Mm.
Generally 3 or 4 sessions of 15 to 20 minutes a week, like nothing crazy, but maintaining a level of cardio. And I've seen great success with a lot of people doing that. As a matter of fact, I probably need to do that myself because I'm really bad about doing cardio in the off season.
Yeah. I figured this out last year during like my entirety of my prep, where I was doing like 45 minutes of like hard cardio. Like it wouldn't feel like much. Like I would do like the elliptical, but my heartbeat would be like 150, 160
Hmm.
straight. And it just wouldn't feel like anything. But then you get like this weird euphoria feeling, and you're just like, I like this. This is kind of fun. We'll keep on going. But then like my training performance would be like breeze. It would be like
Yeah.
easy. It would be like, okay, cool. Like I want to do that now when I'm not like fucking cutting. So that's gonna be great. So I just is my goal this year just to stay as lean and tight as I possibly can,
Hmm.
and then try to get to like 225, about like 40 now.
Yeah. What's your cutoff again?
It might grow. It's good though.
Well, how many times have you been measured in the IFBB? Have they given you a permanent height yet?
Nope.
No. You shouldn't have many more shows, many more heights, right?
Well, they didn't really put it every single time they measure your height every single time you compete. So
Yeah, but you're supposed to get, now they made a new rule for Classic Physique Pros that you get heighted 3 times and then they take the average of that height and then that's your permanent height.
I didn't get one.
Interesting. I don't know.
So
I don't know how they go about it. Like, I don't know if they've got like a record of it somewhere, if they're keeping records of these things, or if they're like giving you a card with it on there, which I highly doubt they would do that.
well, no. There was a guy that I competed against in Ireland who got first. He posted his pro card on his Instagram and
Uh-huh.
it has his height.
So his height has been
It's on
confirmed
his card,
with all 3 times.
I guess.
He
I mean, I
got his
competed
pro
three
card.
times this year. What's that?
When he got his pro card, it had his height on it.
Yeah, when he got his 2025 pro card,
Okay,
when he bought the membership
but
for the pro.
he had already been competing as a pro, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's already been
Yeah.
competed as a pro. But like when he renewed it for 2025,
Okay.
it has his height like at the very top.
Have you renewed yours yet?
Yep, nothing showed up.
Nothing showed up. How many times have you competed? That rule just came out this last year, so you may have only competed that one time.
I've competed 3 times.
Oh, have you? Yeah, you have, haven't you? In
Yeah.
24, you competed 3 times.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I didn't get. That's why, like, when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, they fixed that. Cool. Let me go check." Didn't show up. Okay, cool. Might as well just pay for my membership for next year. Hopefully, I get it. It's not there, so I was like, "Okay, cool." Time to go to the show.
I wonder what their deal is. I wonder, because I know like Tyler came on or Steve came on. Somebody was on a podcast, and they were saying that like if you have one height that's like way out of range, that's like if it measures 5'10" and everything else you're getting is 5'7.5", like one that's just doesn't make any sense, they're throwing that one out. So it's like they're only going to take the average of the 3 that are like that kind of makes sense, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it totally would. I think I did hear them discussed about that, but I never saw them did anything with it all last year,
Yeah.
which was kind of weird. Maybe they were waiting for like somehow this year to do
I
it,
don't know.
but they didn't do anything about it.
Yeah, I don't really know how it works. I mean, I'm not a pro, so
It works the same way.
yeah,
It's not, it's
it
not anything
beats
special.
me.
It's
But
literally the same.
I think that it's absolute crap to have to height yourself every time because then it's
Yeah.
just a guessing game, especially when you're on the verge of a a weight class, like
Yeah. But hopefully they somehow height me correctly at the Olympia, and then at that point it says 5'8.5".
okay,
And if it does say 5'8.5", we're coming in at 204 pounds on the dot.
204.
No
Okay,
fucks given.
okay. What did you got down to? What 186?
Yeah,
Okay.
for the Austria Pro.
Fuck you. You put on that much muscle tissue in a year.
I
Jesus.
think I think it's I think 10 pounds is good.
Yeah.
My consistent amount of tissue that I add on consistently every year is about 10 pounds per
Okay.
weight. So I think 10 pounds should be pretty good, especially since I prepped for so long and my body so held back 200 pounds for so long.
Yep.
That like I could get to 225 and 230 relatively easy. Right now,
You said right now you're 212 after eating?
211.
211. So that's what you'll go to bed at? You're done eating for the day?
Yep. I had my
Yeah.
last meal 2 hours ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much do you lose overnight?
3.
3. Okay. So yeah, I was just about 220. I still have 2 meals left, but typically my weight gets the highest midday and then it typically tapers off a little bit before bed. But I woke up at 213.8 this morning, 0.6, something like that.
Yeah.
But I've been losing like 7 to 10 pounds the last couple days because I had overeaten a bit, and so a lot of it was water coming off.
Yeah, I think my weight finally stabilized from all that eating because peak eating, it was at like 206. This week, it's sort of going up.
Okay. Yeah, no, I got up to like 222 in the morning, but I looked like a water buffalo. So now it's like but like, okay, so I look like a water buffalo, but like my quads were so pumped all the time, I almost couldn't flex them. Like I literally flexed my bicep and it was like I had a pump. Like I couldn't,
Yeah.
it was absurd.
Oh, water.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
nice
A
though.
lot of water. So I'm
Yeah.
glad when it comes back down because then it's like I start to feel better. I get more vascular and then like, I can contract. Like I can actually feel my legs contract. So it's nice when the water comes off. Also, I've noticed that when I'm like eating off plan, I tend to be a little bit more lazy. Like I don't want to move around as much.
Mm.
Like I just have more energy when I'm like 100% on plan right now. So I think that's being a big motivator. But there's something that is like there's an underlying thing that is driving me and it's kind of controlling my decisions some days. It's like I almost feel the need to go off plan, but it's like I
Mm.
don't actually care to. So it's this really weird thing. I don't really know how to explain it other than that.
I have the same thing where it's like I have a certain amount of meals that I got to eat throughout the day, but then like later in the night, once I'm done eating everything, I'm like extremely hungry.
Mhm.
So I have to like force myself to not eat anymore.
Yeah. So I have 2 times a day where it's really bad. It's in the morning time after after my first meal, for some reason after that meal I'm ravenous. Now, I have plenty of food in that meal. I have one whole egg, 10 ounces of egg whites, 90 grams of cream of rice, 100 grams of fruit. I also add veggies to the eggs. Um, and with that meal, I do have some insulin. Um, but after that meal, man, I think it's because I love breakfast food so much. Like, I love breakfast tacos and donuts and kolaches and stuff like that. Like, I just love breakfast food. And so that's what I crave most of the time. Like for a free meal, like I very well could order breakfast tacos or a breakfast burrito from somewhere if there were places around here that offered it at night, but there's not most of the time. So I think that's probably why I crave so much in the morning time. And then at night, yeah, I typically do have a little bit of a sweeter tooth when I'm just sitting down watching TV with the wife. But I take some Fairlife since it's lactose free, and I do the fat free Fairlife with a little bit of sugar free Jello, um, and that helps.
Because I sometimes tend to go train in the morning fasted.
Mm-hmm.
So what I might do is like I have like a sweet tooth late at night, kind of like right now. I might do like yogurt, like sugar, fat-free yogurt with a lot of protein, and then a scoop or two of whey, and then mix it together. It's kind of like ice cream.
Yep.
It's just straight protein.
Do you have a creamy, a Ninja Creamy?
Yeah.
Oh, bro, you got to order a Ninja Creamy. Look, okay, so I make one every morning. My last meal is supposed to be two scoops of protein powder with cream of rice and peanut butter. Okay, so lately I've just been taking the protein and I mix it with a little bit of almond milk and then the rest water, the 2 scoops. Shake it up. I put it in the freezer. I use the Rise Cookie Blast. I think that one makes the perfect ice cream flavor to me, but any protein powder will work. And you blend it up. It might need a little bit of fat, so like that's where I add the peanut butter. Or lately, I can take like depending on if it's a training day or a non-training day, because that meal changes a little bit. I can do like between 3 or 6 Oreos in it, mixed into it, and so it's yeah, really good.
Get it into wafers,
Okay, there you go.
like strawberry wafers.
Okay,
It doesn't help because there's a store downstairs that has all those things, and it's literally downstairs from the apartment. It's like,
yeah,
I just try to go to bed before 10 because
yeah.
it gets getting crazy.
So that's what I do when I take to keep me from nighttime snacking. I take all of my nighttime supplements right before I eat my last meal, and then I eat my last meal at like 8 p.m. I'm typically done with it by 8:15 ish, and then I'm in bed by 9, so that I'm not like up and moving around and doing stuff afterwards. Because otherwise, I might snag a cookie or something or 10.
I get like 2 big whole wafers if I end up snacking. And those things are about 1,000 calories a piece.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to teach myself to not do that because I don't want it to derail any potential chance of beating Terrence. That's the only motivation I got.
Beating Terrence.
It's like, if you eat those, Terrence is going to beat you and win the Olympia.
Yeah.
So you got to be like, rejected.
Yeah, but like the Greek yogurt and protein powder definitely does make a little bit of an ice cream consistency. I do love that combination. You throw some fruit and granola on it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, man. We've been on for a little while now, so I'm gonna let you get out of here. Let you go to bed, man.
I got a client's call right after this. And
oh, do you really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. I have to move it a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Well, I will talk to you next week, brother. Later.
Right.